Can the Democrats turn the tide in Florida, or is the Sunshine State destined to remain a Republican fortress?
So, Florida, once a fierce battleground state, has transformed into a Republican stronghold under Trump and DeSantis. Despite recent polls showing a closer presidential race and hopes among Democrats, reclaiming Florida remains a daunting challenge. Factors like the potential impact of ballot measures on abortion rights and marijuana legalization offer some optimism for Democrats. But the state's political landscape heavily favors Republicans.
Welcome back to You Can't Make This Shit Up. That's David Washington. I'm Kellen Clark. And it does favor Republicans, David, because the Republicans have been more organized.
That's true.
The Democrats had a period of time, especially in the fallout of the Andrew Gillum being himself.
Yeah.
That whole thing. It all. I think a lot of it started with just running one weak candidate for governor. And there was like this period of time when they were disorganized. They were failing to capitalize off of contentious seats. They were failing to get people in office. They were fumbling campaigns, flushing funds down the toilet, failing to secure special interest support, and all. And even during like the Disney controversy, they failed to show that they would actually accommodate them, merely that they support their PR efforts.
Mhm.
There is a lot. It is genuinely unrecognizable now compared to what it was like when Bush and Gore were that close. So different.
Yes, and the Republicans have a infrastructure in place that has created a hundreds of thousand margin between them and Democrats as far as the
Yeah.
voter rolls. That in itself is a tall task for Democrats to overcome. And if you're going to become relevant again, Democrats, you first have to have
You have to tackle them there.
exactly. You need to have a plan to a long-term plan
Long
to
term.
crawl back into relevance by registering new Democrats,
Mhm.
making sure your current Democrats who are on the voter rolls are active Democrats. That means you have to engage them to come out to vote, because the Republican administration of Ron DeSantis and his Department of State, in the Division of Elections, are steadily reducing the voter rolls by, cleaning it up. If you're not an active voter, if you don't meet the criteria to be an active voter, you get removed. And so the purging of these voter files also contributes to the large deficit that the Democrats have to overcome
Mhm.
to become more relevant. Um, register. This should be if not daily activity by Democrats, it should be a weekly activity, organized activity by Democrats. Money needs to be spent. I understand you need to field candidates. Great job, Democrats, on fielding candidates in all House district races and all state Senate district
Yep.
races. Congratulations. Congratulations on your incremental efforts to raise more money. Excellent job. However, there's more work that needs to be done, a lot more work that's going to take an investment into the future.
Yeah, that's a very thorough way to put that, David.
Thank you.
There, uh,
Giving
ha-
great thought to
there,
this.
there is a lot of unpopularity that you could capitalize off of, with the Florida legislature, whether it's a 6-week abortion ban, wasting tax dollars on useless military crap, the failings in our education system. There's a lot that Democrats could have to target off of. And almost everywhere I go here in Central Florida, there's some sort of dissatisfaction
Mhm.
with the Republicans. And I think that says a lot that they're still winning by a huge amount, even though people aren't satisfied with them. The Democrats are not messaging the way they're supposed to. I don't think they're correctly identifying where the disgruntled voters are, because there's a lot of them, but they're failing to get them registered. They're failing to communicate to them that their voice is the most important. Those who are currently not registered but are still not happy with the way things are. There's so many unregistered people in this state, especially in a lot of demographics that tend to lean Democrat. A lot of people have been moved to the inactive voter list.
Mhm.
And I mean, conservatives did some great messaging. If you don't register to vote, the Democrats will come after you. Very dramatic messaging, but it really got people to vote. It was
Right.
what the Democrats will do if you let them. Um, and the Democrats, now that the Republicans have been doing stuff, they have the opportunity to flip that on its head, but they're slow to the punch right now. And again, a lot of it's because they're not well organized. Republicans have lots of special interests
Sure.
aligned with them. That means a lot of paid positions. It means a lot of people that are paid to organize, people that are paid to act. The Democrats, by and large, operate on a volunteer army, especially local. They
That's
are
true.
they are almost fueled by goodwill,
True.
hugs and kisses. There's not enough actual
Copium.
a lot of copium.
Yes.
There needs to be more power behind them, and special interests are a plague upon politics. They ruin almost everything they touch. But the Democrats need at least some interest to call their own. Like
Mhm.
they need a little bit more. They need some fundraising dollars, because every race that we look at here in Central Florida, because we do political campaigns, our Democratic clients are almost always outspent by by
Almost always.
by crazy amounts too. It's not like they're outspent. No, we're saying like double sometimes.
Especially the newer
Yeah,
candidates to the Democratic Party to campaigning. It appears that they come into the election season saying, okay, I'm going to run for office. However, they're not mentally prepared for the reality of what it takes to run an effective campaign. It takes some business savvy, and also, as our model of campaign consulting, campaign management, we model off of looking at a campaign as
it's a
a
startup.
startup,
Yeah.
and so we take a business approach towards these campaigns. And for a business to succeed, you need investment. You need seed money. And a lot of candidates aren't
They're
ready to make that ask. They're not prepared. They're not trained. They're not mentored to do that.
No.
There's infrastructure deficits within the Democratic Party that kind of brings them down to earth. And sometimes
Yeah.
I think maybe that's done on purpose, that the party is set up this way for years and years and years, to kind of perpetuate the image of what Democrats are.
Yeah, I mean it's a ragtag group of activists,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of them are scared to touch special interests. I mean, obviously, you won't find any. They can't really tap into developers because most of them are, they're the pro-environmental group. The developers want to pave over everything. You can't go for fossil fuels because you're trying to get rid of fossil fuels. You can't go for nuclear because Americans are unreasonably paranoid. You can't go for anything military industrial complex because you don't support that. You're a Democrat.
But what I found over time, those activists become just like any other politician
Eventually.
when they get elected, and
Hmm.
when they're running for reelection. Who shows up on their campaign finance reports?
Developers.
Developers.
Developers. That's right. It's smoke and mirrors. I mean, can you believe that there was a time when the Orlando City Council used to have that Democrat image? Theyese days, they're indistinguishable from the Republicans that the Democrats claim that they're against. They're
Exactly.
indistinguishable these days. Same with a lot of including some members, I would say, of Orange County, a couple of them,
Sure.
a couple state reps. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of this Republican legislature that they like to claim that they are against, a lot of times it gets voted in almost unanimously.
Mhm.
Like Democrats vote for it too.
Yeah, sure.
It's just an image thing that they have. They're not actually providing any competition, but their image that they choose to take shoots them in the foot. So even if they wanted to do real change, they can't do shit.
Right. It makes it that much more difficult for them. At one point in my young career, I was like, I was feeling the same way. We're not going to take money from such and such and whatever. And as I matured after 35 odd
You need
years of
something.
doing this, yes, you cannot be effective when you're closing the door to opportunity. There is opportunity out there, even with people that you disagree, to just sit down and try find some common ground, because there's always going to be common ground no matter where you're at. And at times it is a matter of good versus evil.
Yeah.
However,
Most of the time, it's not that simple.
exactly, someone's going to win,
Yeah.
and you're in this race to win, so you're going to have to look at all your options, use all your resources and tools in your campaign utility belt to win. And sometimes that means saying, hey, I need to at least listen to what this particular person or special interest or organization has to say.
Yeah. And there are more special interests than oil, gas, and suburban neighborhoods.
Mhm.
Those are the most prominent ones that you hear about, but they're not the only ones.
Right. I mean,
Eh,
on both
On both
across the
sides.
the political spectrum
If an issue
or
exists,
ideology.
if an issue exists or a profession exists, chances are there's a pack that represents that.
Hmm.
Maybe they're lawyers, maybe they're I don't know, advertisers, maybe they are factory workers, maybe they're auto workers. There are so many groups out there. There's so many packs out there, and of course, they're not all the same size as your oil, gas, and suburban neighborhoods. It's more than what you got otherwise, and a lot of times there's parts of a classic Democrat platform that can work for these
That's true.
characters. I know a lot of lawyers have been supporting a lot of Democrats because they're sick of a lot of them are very turned off by the repeal of the anti-slap statute,
Right,
which we had in
right.
Florida. That's a lawsuit against press participation. When you file a frivolous lawsuit with the intent of wasting someone's money, so you just trying to get them to shut up. We used to have a law against that in Florida. We removed it because DeSantis wanted to sue MSNBC,
Right,
which was
right.
weird, which was real funny. But that put a lot of workload on lawyers.
Or killing the personal injury attorneys here in Florida.
Right.
There was, tort reform here in Florida passed by the supermajority
Yep.
here in Florida that, has hurt the personal injury industry, lawyer community. And so it goes to exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. And I think a lot of Democrats would support the reinstatement of the slap statute because a lot of times it's a lot of special interests are the people that like to use them the most.
Mhm.
I believe big oil is pretty famous for doing it.
Sure.
A lot of oil companies are famous for doing
That's
it.
true.
It would reasonably land in the Democrats' platform, and there are people that support it. So there is an interest right there that they can capitalize on. And some of them do. But there's got to be more stuff like that. There are people that benefit from not developing space. There are groups out there that benefit from that.
That's true.
There are groups that would benefit from having public transportation in their area. There are et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of groups that can benefit from Democrat policy, but the Democrats and these interests don't meet up and decide how they're going to get these things done. They're not going to get done because you put on this self-proclaimed moniker of people power, um, that you abandon when you're elected. It's smoke and mirrors, and
Self-preservation.
it shoots everybody in the foot. It shoots the citizens. It shoots the Democrats. Except the Republicans, it doesn't appear to shoot them in the foot. It doesn't appear to shoot them in the foot.
They have a long-term plan. It's
They
been a
are.
generation of Republican domination here in Florida, and more power to them. I saw it in Illinois.
Yeah.
Democrats
Do the same thing.
dominating for the majority of my lifetime. So congratulations to the victories that the Democrats have had. However, it's a tall hill to climb.
It is a tall hill to climb, and I mean, I think they really got to look in the mirror. I think Democrats in Florida got to look in the mirror and say, what is the most important thing? And it's hard to say. It's hard to sacrifice some of that image, some of that idealism. That's a hard thing to sacrifice in the name of
It,
the ends. It's hard to sacrifice means to justify ends. It really is,
I
but sometimes it needs to happen.
I have to say this. I think there is some benefit. This is the local Democrats thinking, that I'm presuming that there's benefit in being in the minority here in
Yeah,
Florida, and whether it's a personal political benefit for the individual elected or candidates, but there is some benefit there, and perhaps that's where the Democrats want to be at. Again, there's ways out of this, and people are leaving the party, becoming non-party
affiliates.
affiliates, and saying, hey, we're hurting out here,
Yeah,
and the small benefits are great. However, it's not answering those kitchen table
it's not.
issues that our voters
Yeah.
need answers to.
I'm an MPA. I would not register as a Democrat in their current states. I would definitely not go as to a Republican either because I disagree with a lot of their big pushes, a lot of their big policy
Mhm.
pushes. But in case you ever doubt like how organized Republicans are, look at the courts. I mean, some of these
Mhm.
strategies have
True.
existed since they got grumpy in the '80s over a guy named Bork.
Yes.
There
Yes.
was a character named Bork. It was a qualified judge, but a
Robert
little
Bork.
Robert Bork, yeah, just a little very conservative for the Democratic Senate's taste. So they just chose not to confirm the site simply due to his political beliefs, and it started this trend.
Oh boy, did it.
I,
Preach.
and it was and the Republican leadership said like the Democrats will pay, and you know what they did? They have been following the strategy for fucking decades
Yes.
to overhaul your courts in their image to get what they want. That is some determination. That is long term planning. That is organization. And that is what the Democrats are missing here in Florida.
Thank you. If you haven't seen I believe it's the Frontline PBS documentary on Mitch McConnell,
It's interesting.
incredibly interesting. The Leo Leonard's, I'm sorry, the
Leonard Leo.
Leonard Leo of the world. It's the Federalist Society.
Hmm.
It all comes together and makes sense. And like you said, it's dominated how our courts are now.
Yeah.
And I think it was so entertaining. I'm going to watch both documentaries again because it was a hard lesson to learn for me, and
It
it's
was.
given me,
What
you know,
goes around can really come around.
boy,
That the Democrats did not know the Pandora's box they were opening by not confirming him.
wow.
It was a canon event, you guys. It was a canon
Yes, it
event.
was.
It
Thank
was a
you.
canon event.
Yes,
It was a
yes,
canon event.
yes, indeed. I'm going to lay down my mic because I'm reeling from this again. That I'm having PTSD right
We're gonna get through this,
now.
but there's a way to help him, and that's to like the video, subscribe, and most importantly, comment on
Yes.
this video. Do you think the Democrats have a chance for redemption? Do you think that they will do what needs to be done to get out, or do you think that we're red forever? Do you think that they want to stay in the minority, and do you think that the Republican organization will last? These are all important questions, and we want to hear what you think. Please, if you're going to make like a claim, like a real strong claim, try to bring a little bit of supporting evidence. That way we can follow you in the comments. But we love these conversations. This has been You Can't Make This Shit Up.
Kellen, David, we'll see you the next time. Please like, share, and definitely comment. Thanks a lot.